suspension. Suspension. I love suspension. Suspension makes cars ride smoothly. I love suspension. And this has my favorite type of suspension. Air suspension. So, air suspension. What can this one do? A lot, actually. It's fantastic for off-roading, and also it's one of the most comfortable suspensions I've used in a car ever. I mean, I haven't used too many, but I've sure used a lot. And I've used some super comfortable suspensions for cars with comfortable suspension. And let me tell you, this one is fantastic. This has, I think, suspension from McLaren, unless they changed that for Gen 2. I don't think they did. McLaren suspension. And you can't spell McLaren without air. I mean, you can't. Stupid joke, like, I know. Anyway, so this is pretty awesome. It has plenty of height modes, 3 kind of normal height modes, and 5 actual height modes, if you will. Sorry, this plane decided to rudely interrupt. The plane didn't have any respect of the video. They should have turned the engines on mute or something. Anyway, suspension. So, right now it's in what's called kneel mode. When you park, it'll drop down to its absolute lowest setting. Hello. It'll drop down to its lowest setting to ease getting in and out of the car. I love it. People shorter than me I'm 5'9". I have a relative who is decently shorter, and she wants running boards. But that's fine because I want running boards too. But for most people, it's great. Well, I do plan to get some running boards too, though. So right now it's in kneel mode, the lowest it can go. If I wanted to raise it up, go in here. I just cleaned it out, but someone put dirt in here already when they borrowed it, so sorry. So I'm gonna start the car, and we have got suspension settings. So right now we are in kneel, and it shows the respective suspension setting right here. That's the kneel icon. Now I can go to standard, and it's blinking. What is blinking? It means it's getting to the, that was fast. It's getting to the height you want it to be at. Then you have high. And then for off-road mode, you have highest. So I'm gonna go to all-terrain, and then hit the highest suspension. Oh, went back to kneel. There we go. Highest. So I'll go to the highest suspension and then show you what they all look like and just go down from there. So it's blinking, so it's not done yet. Alright, I think we're about there. Yep, stop blinking. So we are in highest. Let's go to see what the highest looks like. Whoop. Nearly fell. So, this is off-road suspension. This thing is jacked up. It is so high. And this is with the regular tires. If I had the all-terrain tires, it would probably add, I don't know, another inch or so maybe. I'm not an expert on them, but I have seen it with all-terrains, and it definitely gets even higher because the tires are bigger. So this is all-terrain height, or called highest. And yep, it's definitely up there. I'd love to drive around like this. I might drive home like this, who knows. So this is highest. Now let's go to, is this what lifted truck owners feel like? Yeah, like, ugh. I know I'm 5'9", don't call me short. Alright, let's go to high. Alright. So this is high suspension. This is the highest you can go without getting into off-road mode or all-terrain mode. Still very high, still very capable. Height. Now we're gonna head to standard. Let's see. Now start again. Standard. So standard is the default height. Is the default height you'll be in for pretty much all daily driving. It's the most comfortable height, I think. High might be softer. I don't know. I've still been testing it out. But this is the default height you'll be for, like, you know, city driving and stuff like that. And then finally we have low. I exit all terrain, so go all purpose. He's back on the road. And then hit lower. And now we are all the way down low. Now, similar to there being the highest height, there's also lowest, which is the same thing as kneel. And you already saw kneel. So this is the lowest you can get without going into kneel. In addition to those, there is one of my favorite features I use quite a lot is the auto leveling. I don't know if I can. I'll probably head somewhere to show you what that looks like and then edit that in. But basically, say you're on, you know, campgrounds, uneven campgrounds, whatnot, and you're camping out in your Rivian, which you should, it's awesome. And, you know, it's all in level, the car is leaning over, like to the left or something, and you want it to be level. Well, you can do that with the air suspension. So give it, like, I don't know, 5 minutes or something, 5-10 minutes, and it'll level itself to the height. Well, it'll level itself to an even height and an even balance, to where while you're inside the car, you're perfectly straight, you're not crooked, you're not leaning, and outside of the car, it looks pretty sick. But yeah, I love that mode. I haven't used it camping yet, which is ironic. I've used it a ton of times just parking random places because it's funny. But yeah, it's a super good feature to have. As far as suspension, you know, ride quality settings. So you have, for the ride feel, you have firm, moderate, and soft. Soft gives it more of like a, I mean, yeah, soft, but also kind of, for lack of a better word, bounciness. You know, you go over a speed bump, it's like you're going over like a cloud bump. You know, bouncing up and down a little bit smoothly. Firm basically is, let's get right to the point. So you go over the speed bump, it's still soft, but there's no extra bounciness afterwards. You just go over and you're done. And then moderate obviously is in between the two. Below those you have regen settings. So you have high, standard, and low. I always ride in high because I want the most power back I can get, and it's the best for one-pedal driving. And you obviously have your stability settings. You know, you want to do some drifting, reduce it, and I bet I wonder if sport mode, press and hold. Oh, so I can turn it off if I want to. Bam! I can do some wheel spin, some drifting if I wanted to. That would be sick. I gotta do that soon. Probably when I'm getting ready to replace these tires, because I don't want to do that to them yet. Yeah, so keep it on. But yeah, then auto, I keep it in auto most of the time. Basically, you start off in Neil, you get in the car, you start to drive, and it'll go from low to standard and hang around standard for most of the time. If you get on the highway, it'll automatically drop down to low for the best aero efficiency. Now, I always like to tell people to, it's up to them if they want that or not, because when you're in low, you do have, I think you have a slight bit disadvantage on the CV joints. Same with high. That's why you can't ride in high suspension over 45 miles an hour, because the CV joints are literally, they're not stretching outside of their capability, but you will wear them way more. And I think the same goes for low. Or it might be extra tire wear in low, since it might have a tiny bit of negative camber. Not sure, but definitely up to you on which you prefer. I definitely have seen like a little negative camber look on Rivians and all-terrains, because like I said, those are even bigger tires. But yeah, I keep it in auto most of the time. Sometimes if I want to have a more comfortable ride on the highway, I'll turn auto off and go to standard, because low is closer to the suspension bumps, like the bumper stoppers. So if you hit, a bump on the highway, like on the bridge or whatnot, you will feel that a lot more in low than you will in standard. So sometimes if I know I'm going to be going over rough highways, which is all the time in Orlando because our highways suck, I usually will go in standard. If I'm on a good highway, low is good. I like more efficiency anyway. But if I know I'm going to be going over somewhere kind of rough, I'm putting it in standard so I can get a softer ride. Yeah, besides that, I think that's all there is for suspension. It's probably my favorite part of the car. I'm an air suspension fan, I guess. I've wanted air suspension for a while, so happy to have my first air ride car. Before, I was looking at like a 2004 Land Rover LR3, because LR3s are sick and they have air suspension and V8 engines. They're just a cool car. Want to get one still. But yeah, that is the suspension.